there, just as a testament. And there were things going on even this morning. So just really appreciate it. And the CIP for the library system is fairly straightforward today. And I'll turn to Director Vassallo and Carolyn in a moment. But I think that it lays the foundation for what we need to do going forward between keeping on track the facility in Clarksburg, the new library there, keeping our refresh process going, and also some really exciting funding for increases in other great programming that has been happening in the libraries throughout the pandemic. So, and then increasing construction costs for noise and making sure we keep our commitment there, as well as the Chevy Chase Library refurbishment. But before we turn to Director Vassallo, I wanted to see if Councilmember Navarro wanted to say anything before we turn it over to Carolyn and Director Vassallo.
Thank you, Councilmember Jawando. Echoing exactly your sentiments, we are so fortunate. We really are in Montgomery County to count on this extraordinary network of libraries. It is just such a bright light during good times, especially during our crises. And as you mentioned, it's been really a pleasure to see how everybody has come together to figure out, what are the roles, that libraries play, responding to what the community has sought. And so that synergy to me has been really wonderful to see. And Ms. Vassallo and all of your team just deserves a lot of credit for also pivoting so quickly and continuing to provide support for our community. So I do look forward to the conversation and can't wait to go to the actual physical renaming of Brigadier. It's just, when I think about it, it's just good news all over. So thank you for letting me make some remarks, and we will continue to support, obviously, this amazing resource as much as possible.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Navarro. Director Vassallo, did you want to make any opening remarks before we turn to the packet?
Let me unmute myself here. So first of all, Councilmember Rice, Councilmember Navarro, I thank you so much for your kind words about the services that libraries have provided during the pandemic. It hasn't been easy. It's been stressful on a lot of people. Of course, the community, first of all. The staff have really risen to the occasion to provide the PPE, the services, to help people out over the past 2 years. And as a matter of fact, we have hit, if you combine the masks and the test kits, we're almost at 2 million. So it's really been a wonderful, wonderful effort on behalf of library staff. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention Department of General Services staff, HHS, a lot of other people made this successful, of course. And now as we move into kind of an evening pattern of this, we will be continuing with our mask and test kit giveaways, but in a different way. They're just available in the libraries when people stop by. So we'll be continuing this service to the community. We look forward to gradually pulling ourselves out of the effects of the pandemic, moving towards hiring more staff, resuming our services. And I appreciate very much the support that the Education and Culture Committee has given libraries, both in our operating budget and in our CIP. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Director Vassallo. Really appreciate that. Ms. Chen, I know we have a few items. To turn it over to you to go through the packet.
Yes, thank you, Councilmember Jawando, and welcome everybody. Happy Monday. Just wanted to note who else is also on this meeting today. James Donaldson, Assistant Director of Montgomery County Public Libraries. Steve Kapani, Business Office Manager. Greg Assant from the Department of General Services, the Deputy Director. Thank you for coming. Deborah Lambert, Senior Fiscal and Policy Analyst and my partner in crime for this library CIP. And Mary Beck has the county's CIP manager has also joined us. So thank you very, very much for being here. It's very exciting to have a fun topic to kick off CIP season. Just to run through the packet very quickly, on page 1 is the synopsis of what we are looking at for the entire 6-year CIP, which is we are funding 5 library projects totaling $49.1 million, and it represents an increase of $2.4 million or 5.1% from the amended fiscal year 21 to 26. The total 6-year cost of $46.8 million, which was the last time we reviewed the entire CIP. The cost increases are very specific and laid out in the second bullet. They result from adding the completion of the Clarksburg Library within this 6-year planning period, an increase in construction costs in the Noyes Library project, the inclusion of the Chevy Chase Library refurbishment in the fiscal year 23 to 28 CIP. In the chart to the right on the first page, you can see the percentage change between the 2 full CIPs. You'll see the increase goes from 13.4% for the Noyes Library and a slight decrease in the 20th Century Library Enhancements level of effort of negative 3.3%. I also wanted to note that the Wheaton Library and Community Recreation Center is still part of this CIP for libraries, even though it is already completed and the cost to run that has moved to the operating budget. Overall, the staff recommendation is to approve this CIP for public libraries as recommended by the executive. Before we go on, I'll just highlight the 3 categories that this packet has broken down the review of. Pages 2, 3, and 4. Page 2 is the 2 libraries, Wheaton Library and Clarksburg Library, put in the category of public benefit of construction of new libraries in racially and ethnically diverse communities. Page 3, the public benefit here is the modernization of library infrastructure, services, and technology. And 2 projects have been placed in that category, 21st Century Library Enhancements level of effort and the library refurbishment level of effort. And finally, the 3rd public benefit is the operation, support, and preservation of the oldest library in the regional area, which is the Noyes Library for Young Children Rehabilitation and Renovation. Those are the highlights, and turning it over to maybe Ms. Lambert, if you want to highlight anything. I know we've been working a lot on this. If not, we can move back to Councilmember Jawando.
Ms. Lambert, anything you'd like to add?
Nope. Carolyn covered it very well. Thank you.
Great. I like that. I like agreement. And I appreciate you highlighting the public benefit sections. I think it is of note that, you know, the Wheaton, still one of my best times on the council has been when we opened Wheaton Library and Rec Center. I think we were all there, and I know Councilman Navarro worked so hard on that. It was just really a joy, and I hope to be around when we open Clarksburg, and I hope you'll come back, Craig, no matter where you are for that one, because it'll be a few years, but that they are racially, ethnically diverse communities that will, and they are serving our community, and we're continuing with the refresh. So that's really important as well. And we're happy that Sunday hours have been restored too. Just always want to mention that so people remember that. That's a big day for the library. Well, if there is no comment from colleagues, I think, Mr. Chairman, I think we would just recommend that approval as the packet recommends from staff. All right.
Excellent. I would say without objection.
Thank you. All right, turn it back over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Councilmember Jawando, and well done in terms of highlighting all of the great parts of this CIP budget that will continue to further us along. And we know that Noyes has struggled for some time to make sure that we can get them off of the ground and really get this moving forward. So it's really nice to see that reflection in some additional funding that's going to help them to get that project to completion. That is really important for the community. So great job all around. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we'll go to our next item, which is our Public Arts Trust. It was very interesting. Ms. Jenkins and I were on another call earlier today, just talking about how important the arts are and how the mediums have changed beyond the pencil and paper and paint and canvas to really understanding that our public art has grown so much in terms of the ways in which artists are making their mark on our community and how important that is to us as a whole. And so just really want to thank you, Ms. Jenkins, for continuing in your role as the CEO of the Arts and Humanities Council, of continuing to remind people of why the arts is so important as a part of us moving forward, understanding that there is no longer siloing or separation, that the arts are integral when it comes to everything that we do. And so, not just from the perspective of social, but also from the perspective of economic. And I think that that's incredibly important. So let me turn to you, Ms. Jenkins, for a little bit of an overview in terms of what you see as the continued role of public arts and how you think that this budget should be and is shaped in a way that continues to support that mission and what it is that you see for public arts in the future. So.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Rice. It's great to see you, Councilmember Navarro, Councilmember Duando. It's great to see my colleagues here today. Thank you all. I just want to start by saying thank you all for your support of public art and arts and humanities in the county. I mean, it just warms my heart, and it is so much the right thing to do, and what's made my family and I know that this is the place we want to live and grow for the last over 30 some odd years. So I think that in terms of public art, yes, it is about the things that we know are good, right? Everything I say, people want to gather around the good stuff. And when you go out and you see public art in the community, you feel good about it. You see sculpture, or you see a mural, you see your reflection, you see something that is you. It creates a sense of belonging. It brings community together. It doesn't matter what language you speak. No matter what languages walk by the Red Orchard Wall, which is on the intersection of Fenton and Philadelphia by Montgomery College. And we know how many languages are spoken there, right? Over 130 some. No matter what languages walk back, it doesn't matter what that language is, because that piece of art is evocative and it means community, and it shows the community every day, meaning something totally different from one to another, but enhancing the community in positive ways. You see how public art has really enhanced our community as we talk about, our difficult history as it pertained to those who were lynched in Rockville. And, I know I saw you there, so I know that you know first person how this very important part of our history and social justice was addressed through public art. And you heard yourself from the artists who were affected by that exhibition. Not only did they participate, but they were affected by the knowledge of this history and what it did to the community to bring us together, talk about difficult projects and problems as it pertains to social justice. And now, in our work with all of the other departments on the Public Art Trust Steering Committee, and Greg Assant is one of those, working interdepartmentally with our departments of general services to make that exhibition happen in downtown Rockville. It would not have happened if it hadn't been for the power that David Dice and Greg Assant put behind that to make that happen for us. And what that says about Montgomery County as a whole, as we saw in the news reports. Not only that, but we are also teaching artists new skills using technology, the technology that you saw, the technology that we need to be teaching at the hub, about how arts and social justice can be re-expressed, and artists can learn new skills, and the community can learn about new technology. So many things to talk about. The interdepartmental work with Department of Environmental Protection and the work we did on the plaza in the middle of the pandemic. The work we're doing now on the Public Art Review Panel as Lytle Grocery Stores comes to Rockville and Germantown. We're working with them to develop the murals that'll be on their buildings and how they'll integrate that into their work. We're constantly working with developers to help them rethink the way that their buildings land in the community, making sure that the community speaks from the bottom up about what they need and how that's reflected. So I think, you know, your investment, your sustained investment in the public art trusts and in the Arts and Humanities Council has allowed us to do this work. And now we're really blossoming into the pre-research phase of the cultural plan, which dovetails immediately into Thrive 2050. This work is, I think, really important as you think about these library investments in Clarksburg and how to augment what we've already done in Wheaton, what we need to do in Darnestown and Poolsville and other places in Stotland, in Langley Park, in Long Branch, the work we need to do there. How can public art serve as that interlocutor? And your investment shows already how it has. I thank you for your continued investment in the public art trusts. Thank you.
Well, if you needed to be inspired, I hope you heard that, because it certainly is one that talks about what it is that we see is incredibly important for us moving forward. And I think that Councilmember Navarro has oftentimes said this, and you heard it from Councilmember Jawando, acknowledging the same about how if we don't come out of this better, we've significantly lost an opportunity. And we are really rethinking everything that we do and how we do it to make sure that we're building not only that equity in our communities, but building access, building that integration, breaking down those silos that had continued to exist that kept people, unfortunately, not connected to so many things that matter to them so much. So from that standpoint, I can't thank you enough for your words, Ms. Jenkins. It truly is instrumental. And I do want to acknowledge the great work of Mr. Assad, Mr. Dice, who continue to do the work in terms of making sure that we work in conjunction with our Arts and Humanities Council to ensure that these types of projects and opportunities for us to create better spaces for our communities are ones that are integrated into how we think about developing now as a county. And so that's incredibly important. And then, of course, it couldn't happen without the funding. It couldn't happen without the support. So I want to thank Ms. Jackson, Ms. Beck, and others who continuously are working to figure out how financially, in times when we're challenged, to be able to highlight these as priorities that are important to us, right? It takes teamwork. It takes collaboration. It takes us all working together to make these things happen. So really want to thank each and every one of you. So with that, let me thank my last person on the list, I'm sorry, Councilmember Navarro. I apologize.
No, that's fine. I just, really truly want to express how important these experiences, I think, have become, given what we've just experienced. I mean, I think that when we were talking about, the funding that was necessary to provide support, right, and we talked about the sense of placemaking, et cetera, I think we were all focused on what this meant for our county in terms of reflecting back who we are and really, truly being able to identify with the extraordinary, rich tapestry of just arts and traditions in our county. But I have to say, I think that especially after this experience, when you encounter these particular installations, it provides, I think, such a wonderful, positive, almost like release of just beauty. And I think also just a way to kind of, download some of that pent up frustration and just a lot of the, overall sense of hopelessness that I know a lot of people have felt. And I've seen that myself firsthand. So it's interesting because I continue to be surprised by how there are so many particular things that we are all, carefully monitoring and carefully trying to augment, et cetera. And oftentimes it is amazing to see how in this county in particular, we have paid attention to all these elements. And now I think that we are able to leverage that more and more. And so, we knew we loved our parks, for example, and then we saw during the pandemic the role that they played, right? I think, public art it has that similar effect on all of us. And so if we ever doubted the importance of, funding, putting the resources, the maintenance, the preservation, et cetera, I think hopefully we've also learned those types of lessons through this experience, which, I just want to thank this group collectively for recognizing that early on. And now I can't, again, wait to see what's in store, because there's just a lot of different folks who also have come forward, and said, hey, it would be great to have, gallery space in the Silver Spring area, or hey, what about the Wheaton Arts and Cultural Center? And hey, there's a lot of energy around this particular space in our county, which I think it's really awesome. So just want to say thank you. And I know it's made a difference to me when I encounter one of these particular installations. It just brings me joy. Thank you.
Well, here to that. Yeah, Councilmember Joando, please.
I'll just say ditto. We love you. I was going to say you're always a work of art yourself, Ms. Jenkins, when you start talking about the importance of art. So, and we're excited to partner with you on all those projects and more. And I still remember when Councilmember Rice and I and others were here outside of the building for the beautiful display. It was sorrowful, but it was also joyful in the sense that we were recognizing a part of our history that we need to recognize to move past it. And that's art is such a, to Councilmember Navarro's point, it's such a cathartic way to do that. So just very excited that we can continue to support, and we're going to need you more than ever now. So really excited. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all.
Well deserved. That's for sure. And another person who deserves thanks is Ms. Chen. So Ms. Chen, I'm going to turn it over to you to walk us through the packet, through some of the salient points that we have for decision today. So thank you very much, Ms. Chen.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Rice. In addition to Ms. Jenkins, Mr. Assant, and Ms. Beck, who is on this call, I want to highlight Ms. Shantae Jackson, who is the Rockstar OMB analyst who does analyzing for the Public Arts Trust, who has been very, very, very patient and helpful throughout this process while we figure this out. So thank you so much, and welcome to the full CIP review. I think it's your first one.
Nice to meet you, Shanti. At least see you.
The synopsis is on page 1. The recommended fiscal year 23 to 28 CIP for the Public Arts Trust includes annual funding of $408,000 from current revenue, totaling $2.448 million over the 6-year period. We have discussed about really setting aside these funds to commission, purchase, and maintain the current art, public art displayed in all county government buildings in public schools, Montgomery College, and the Park and Planning Commission. In addition, the Public Arts Trust is a fiscal mechanism to incorporate art into public facilities as it goes towards new capital expenditures, and also an advisory group for public development. The council staff recommendation for this CIP review is to approve as recommended by the executive, and to review any forthcoming fiscal year 22 CIP amendments from OMB when they are transmitted to the council, and that's in the previous fiscal year. To highlight just one page, page 2, on the Public Arts Trust and some of the trends that we will be looking at, which is on the bottom third of the page. In this 6-year period, we want to follow the trend of the research going on with COVID-19 and social distancing and the impact of mental health, and how art and other activities can improve that. There is a huge study going on with 80,000 adults in the United Kingdom. In addition, also in the UK, health policy moving towards prescribing art, which I thought was very creative, but also probably a no-brainer to this group. So there are policy changes going on in other countries relating to art and public art. And finally, the rise in public art in private development, and that is due to the need to attract millennial buyers with contemporary art as a indicator or as a flag to show that this is a community that they want to live in. So it's an economic development driver that's going on too. And that's that's it. I'm all set on package review. Ms. Jackson, anything that you want to add?
Yes, I just wanted to confirm that we are indeed working on the supplemental appropriation as well as the FY22 amendment to the CIP, that it is forthcoming. We did have some communication issues in the previous fiscal year, and this supplemental and amendment will address that. Also, just wanted to find out if the committee wants to indicate their support about the supplemental now so that it can go directly to full council without the need to reconvene.
Wow. Well, thank you. We love that. We love being very, very progressive in thinking about the ways in which we can expedite our support for things that we want to see have happen. So, colleagues, what I'll do is I'll actually dispense of that one first, since that is a supplemental piece that goes before the actual budget. So I'm seeing nodding, and I know that we've all been in support of that. So yes, absolutely. And then with regards to the general budget as presented by the county executive, I'm sure that there's support there as well. So we just ask for without objection there also.
Okay, and in the case I didn't mention the amount, it's $109,000.
Right.
Just to be clear. Thanks.
Yep. Excellent. And I see that we had that highlighted in the packet by Ms. Chen as well. So thank you. All right. Ms. Chen, I think that concludes our work for today. I did want to just close by acknowledging what Councilmember Jawando talked about before. And it's very rare as we close out Black History Month, it's very rare that we have opportunities to be witness to Black history. And we actually had Black history in our presence when it came to General McGee and how he was able to impart on us what he went through, but also what he sought to accomplish. And I just really, as a young man who actually went to the University of Illinois, not far from Chanute, where the Tuskegee Airmen did their training. They weren't known then as the Tuskegee Airmen. It was the 332nd. I know all of this because I wanted to be a Navy fighter pilot. And the only reason why I ended up even having that kind of opportunity to be a part of Naval ROTC and go to flight training down in Corpus Christi, Texas, is because of people like Brigadier General Charles McGee. And so I want to close, as we close out Black History Month, and acknowledging that what we do here has lasting effects. And by naming an institution like this, an institution of learning, an institution of retooling themselves, it is my hope that at this library, we can incorporate some art that reflects that same sort of vision that Charles McGee had about young Black boys being able to fly. And so I just want to close with saying to General Charles McGee and to all of the Red Tails, my Tuskegee Airmen, we say thank you. Thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for everything that you've done, because you really have changed the world. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are adjourned. Take care.
Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you. Thank you all.